A report by Common Sense Media says that about half of all kids have some form of social media by the age of 12. But just because they can sign up that young, does that make it a good idea? Psychologist Dr. Jason Parker from Old Dominion University is joining us this morning to talk about this. You have two 13-year-olds in the room. Their maturity level is very different when it comes to being able to use social media, what they gauge to put out there on social media. And then there is depression we're seeing associated with the use of social media. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, well, parents have to be the primary educator. Always, it's the parent's decision because the age range is huge. Of course there's a huge age range because everybody hits adolescence at a different time. We're talking about the connection of the brains and all that. When is your child ready? When they seem to be ready. And that's a terrible answer, but it's within the range. So it has to be that within family decision and, you know, keep track on what they're doing and who they're seeing and making sure that they're ready to put that out there and they understand that once you put it out there, it's there forever. And that almost impulse control and the thought, you know, you can't just send it out because you're angry or because you're upset. You got to realize when you put it out there, it's out there.
And it's real life consequences.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And that's, you know, are they at that point developmentally? It's an individual thing because it's such a range. I wanted to talk to a real expert, so I went to my hair salon. And there were a group of teens there. And they were in middle school. So I got, you know, half of a soccer team there talking. And their response was, you know, in elementary school, your friends are next door. You don't need social media. Middle school, which lines right up with what the American Academy of Pediatrics says. Middle school, about 13. Says, you know, at that age, well, your friends are no longer next door because it's middle school.
And
and then in high school, it's even bigger. So having a phone and social media becomes more important. And plus for the parents, you can look on your phone and see where they are.
Well, that's important too. What is one thing that you can tell them to help them gauge if it's okay to let them have their own social media?
Talk to the child, and don't forget that there are also still parental controls. So you can make sure that their social media is controlled, how much data they get, whether they have a cell phone or they do not, who they can talk to, the numbers, and you can block a lot of things. So actually, if you talk to your carrier, many of them do have a lot of answers to do that, you know, and to make sure you protect them, because you mentioned earlier in the article that fear about pediatric depression. Yes, they can put a lot out there, so they might get a lot back.
If they're comparing themselves.
They've got to be aware. And that means, again, the parents got to work with the child, and you got to prepare them for it, and you got to be able to sit down and talk with them. It's, you know, in my generation, you sat down with your children to go, hey, what are you watching on TV? Now you sit down with them going, well, what are you talking about? And what are you chatting about? And what are you posting?
So keeping that open line of communication.
Communication is everything.
Awesome. Dr. Jason Parker, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We have more information to help parents decide right now at WTKR.com.